Test, test, test. Hello, welcome back. All right. Okay, so can everyone hear me? I really hope the audio is working now. It should be. I'm hoping anyway. It should be. The audio should be working. I hope. I really do. Oh. Okay. Well, so everything is back. We are working, and so uh, we've now got to post all the stuff to Facebook, let people know. Okay, so after that very obnoxious interruption, we're going to attempt to get this painting finished. I hope so. Uh, okay, so before the audio went out, we were having some difficulties. We were talking about the yellows and all that fun stuff. So I'm going to be adding in some. Uh, well, now I want to go back and rethink about it. Definitely some cadmium yellows and some a lot of whites, a lot of yellows. Maybe a Venendite yellow, maybe a bismuth Venendite yellow. It's a very powerful yellow, very strong. So I have to be very careful about it. So okay, so we're going to start by adding a little bit of this wonderful uh, bismuth Venendite yellow. It's a awesome yellow. It's a very powerful yellow, by the way. Very powerful. So you want to be very careful with it. Don't want to add too much because it will overtake everything you put on it. It really will. Okay, all right. So let us get started with it. What I want to do is, I think I'm going to add in some up in here, and then I'll add in some more lights, and we'll do that because we want the light to kind of come this way toward it. So ooh, this makes me a little nervous if you guys want the truth, because man, this is a very powerful yellow. So, ooh, all right, here we go. Don't be scared. Jump right on in. Now, one thing that's might happen, since there's a blue behind it, and we're putting basically a yellow over it, the blue is really going to shine through the yellow, and it's going to kind of give it a little bit of a greenish tint. So we'll see. We'll make it work okay. I mean, you can see how powerful this yellow is. I know it's thinking, you're thinking, wow, what are you doing? I know it's kind of scary, isn't it? So this is basically what we're doing is we're adding in a little bit of a underpaint to this. We're uh, we're going to put in the yellow, then we'll put in some whites on top of it, and it'll kind of blend everything uh, everything around there. And yes, uh, thank you, Josh, for helping me get the audio back up and running. Because man, people were like, "We can't hear you," and I'm like, "Damn it!" So, yeah. What a way to end 2020. Well, of course, audio not working. So, it's all right. Oh, man, oh, man. I'm telling you, this has been a rough year. Hope everybody's going to go out and have a wonderful, safe New Year's Eve. You know what? I don't think I'm going to do it. I don't think I'm going to venture out this year. I think I'm going to stay home and try to finish this painting if we don't finish it tonight. Because, yeah, I don't know. It just seems like people just aren't in the mood. I mean, I am so ready for this year to be over. It's been a very rough year. It's been who needs audio? Exactly. Nobody needs audio. So, um, yeah, it's just been a very rough year. And like I said, I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I'm definitely so ready for this year to be over. Um, you know, all right, we're just kind of very roughing this in. We're not really doing a lot of fine detail with it yet. But I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna add a touch of cadmium yellow to it. Just a little bit of a touch of cadmium yellow here, just to just bring that down just a little bit here. All right. And it kind of dissipates all the way up in there. So you can kind of see how that blue underneath is really coming through underneath that yellow. But we're going to not worry about that because we'll go back with some whites and we will take in some of that white so it won't be so bright, I should say. Um, but we need to use a titanium white for this. Actually, you know what? I'm going to use a pale yellow white for it. And this it's a very opaque white, and so it's really going to cover a lot of this stuff up here. So you don't have to worry about that blue coming through. But yeah, see how I was like, don't worry about it because we're just going to be using that bright yellow as kind of like our baseline. So we're going to go back, we'll cover it all up with this white here. So yeah, what are you guys doing for New Year's Eve? Because this is our last live feed of the year, right here. I know my neighbors have been setting fireworks off all night. So give them time and I'm sure they'll be setting them off again. Alrighty. Okay. I'm going to go back and add in some titanium white to that. Like I said, a lot of that yellow is going to disappear because we're going to use it as underpainting. So a lot of it will disappear here. Ooh, that is bright, isn't it? But it's alright. We'll fix it. Don't stress, everyone. We'll fix it. So, okay, so we know we want this to be pretty bright right in here. We want our light to kind of go this way. So, we're going to kind of dress this up just a little bit in there. I'm going to kind of bring it all the way over. We've got to be careful because if we're not careful, we're going to bring in some of those other colors from underneath. So very careful there. Very, very, very careful. Now we're just kind of creating So now we need to create kind of like an afterglow, which is what we're doing right now. That we want it to kind of come in, kind of glow off the rest of the clouds here. Okay, so now we need to darken that up a little bit, so we're going to add in something to darken it up a little bit. And how about we use, you know what? How about some yellow ochre? Can't go wrong with yellow ochre, right? Add in some yellow ochre. And you know what, how about some, then we'll go back and we'll also add some cobalt yellow to that. Right. Now remember, you guys have got to be careful anytime you're using cobalt or cadmiums, because both are very poisonous and will kill you very dead. Cadmium is more poisonous than lead. Lead will slowly kill you over time. Cadmium will kill you pretty quick. Cobalt will do the same, but you got to ingest a lot of it. So just be careful. So I've got some cobalt yellow here, and then I'm actually mixing in some of my yellow ochre to it. And it's going to be pretty powerful, but at the same time, it's a little transparent. So we're just going to kind of fold that in on top of the other colors here. So we've got our cadmium, our yellow ochre. We're just kind of folding those in. We're kind of dancing around the same pattern we did with our other yellows there. But we're going pretty thin with it. You know what, we're going to take maybe a little heavy on our yellow ochre. We're going to kind of go right up in here, and we're going to follow this line with it right here so it blends it in when we put in our next layer. And back to mixing the cobalt and the yellow ochre together to create this blend. There we go. Now I'm going to go straight to my cobalt here, and the cobalt is, I said, I like it. It's a, this is a cobalt yellow. It's a nice cobalt. It's almost orangey in my opinion, but it's nice, and it has great coverage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my cobalt to kind of dance around up in here. Kind of really, you can see how it kind of glows. So we're going to use it to kind of dance in with all these other ones. Alright, now we need to get some of our yellow ochre. Where'd my yellow ochre go? There it is. Alright, so now we'll go back and put in some yellow ochre, which is contains a lot of natural browns. In my opinion, it does. It's, ooh, now I might go back and add in a little bit of Van Dyke brown into this. But you know, alright, so we're going to go back with our yellow ochre now. We're going to go right underneath where we put those other ones. At least we're actually go on top of these here. We're going to go underneath where we put all these other ones here. And you're going to notice how all of a sudden it's going to have a little bit more depth going on here. Okay. So I think we've got our line laid in to where it kind of comes out this way a little bit. And we're going to continue to keep doing that, and we'll dress it on up and all that fun stuff. We're just going to keep adding in layers upon layers upon layers upon layers. Now we need to add in, you guessed it, so we've got to add in some grays here because now we're getting further back from the light source over here. So we've got to add in some grays, and we're folding the gray on top of this so it kind of adds in these layers here. But you know what we're going to use? I'm going to use silver instead of grays. So gotta rinse all this yellow out of my brush before I do it though. Jasper's sleeping, so we have to be quiet. Alrighty. And grab our silver here. And then we're just gonna basically fold it right in on top of our yellows. I'm gonna add a little bit of titanium white in here to give us a little bit of depth going on. This is back with our titanium. I'm using this to kind of now we still want to make sure we have depth up in here, even though it is going to be very bright with all of our yellows and stuff. So we're going to go back and we're going to put in some whites, and that we'll use the whites to give us our definitions and our changes and all that fun stuff. Well, we're going to bring this one on up to here too. And I'm kind of taking this and I'm dancing it right in underneath all those other yellows and stuff. And it's going to kind of give us a little bit of depth and all that stuff going on. And remember, then after this, we'll go back and we'll put in some more whites in on top of it and all that. So this is a beautiful thing about layers upon layers upon layers. I'm going to take a dry brush. I'm just going to kind of blend all this in. Okay, so now we're starting to get a little something happening there. So you can kind of see how it's slowly coming about. So we're just going to have to continue on here. So it's slowly coming along. So it's like, so every once in a while you need to step back and take a look at your painting to make sure it's looking the way you want it to look here. The yeah, the angle's working good. I am liking that. Need to figure out a little bit about what I want to do with that upper corner there. So what I think I'm going to do is that. So this now has become really wide. It's a little bit wider than I anticipated it to become originally. So I think we're going to have to change our painting and how we want it to. So I got paint like all over me. Let me just switch towels here. The, So we need to basically shrink that down a little bit. The way I'm going to do it is I'll add in some more whites here to kind of bring this down more over here. And then I think we'll go back and we'll add in some white traces over here so it doesn't look so uh, huge, like a band right there. So, I'm grabbing the titanium white, and then we're just going to go back and just bring that on over there. We use those short brush strokes here to kind of bring that down a little bit here. Yeah, it's coming along. It's looking a little better. We're getting there, slowly but surely. Slowly but surely, we are getting there. Now I'm adding in some zinc white here. And we'll take the zinc white and we'll go right along our outside here. And this is actually going to be adding in a bunch of layers to our painting here. Okay, so now what we're going to do, so we have all this blended in rather nicely up in here. We're going to go back with our whites and we're really going to kind of chisel in a hard line right through here to really cause this to pop out a lot from this. But what we need to do first is we should probably need to go back and we need to add in all of our shadows and all that stuff in this layer below it here, because once we add in this top layer, we won't be able to really get to it. So let's kind of dance around here and get some different movements going on with our silvers and our whites. We'll get some more of that yellow ochre going here. We'll get to that in a minute. So we're just going to kind of follow that around. What we kind of want this to be. And then we'll just kind of back brush it, and then we're going to brush it with the direction we want it to flow. We'll use our titanium whites for this. I'm just kind of following this around, trying to see where it happens to want to go. So yes, I think I like the way that white is kind of adding in some of the depth there that we were kind of missing before. But I want to go back. I want to add in some more silvers and stuff up in there. I kind of want to fix this right here. Fix this with some whites right up in there. Because now we've got to see. I'm not quite happy with. See how harsh this line is here. I'm not very happy with the harshness of that line. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to use a little bit of white to kind of almost blur it out a little bit. So, because at the end of the day, we're going for clouds. Clouds are, well, they're basically just water. So, they're not really going to have a harsh line. Some of them have a harsh line to them, but I don't want these two. So, I'll go back. I'll probably use the Cremenza white to kind of blur it out a little bit. We'll wait till it dries a little bit because now if I do it, it'll just kind of smear everything around. So we're going to let that dry just a little bit before we tackle that. But we are going to go back and finish putting in our upper line here. And I'm just kind of going back and grabbing this right here. And of course, if you guys have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below. Or if you're here live watching, just send me a question and I'll answer it. And so my friend Josh, who was watching, apparently he is, because I've noticed on like the later feeds when people go back and watch these later on, he's actually doing a flight simulator right now while he's watching me paint. And yes, don't crash, Josh. Don't crash. So yeah. So we're going to go back and we're going to add in. So we need to darken this up in here. But yeah, we want to keep this. So let's take our silver. And our first step is we're going to need to add in some of our back shadows up in here. So we're just going to kind of dance this around here a little bit. Over in here, and here, over in here. There we go. Then we're just going to gently. Maybe we want it to kind of go this way. We're just going to gently and brush in those shadows. And with stuff like this, don't need to be in a hurry. Just gently pull that in the direction you want it to go. I don't want these to get upward here, so we're just going to brush those in and blend those in there. And these we're just going to do that this way. And we'll take our whites and we'll go next to our grays so we can just gently give us a little bit of movements, some textures in there. There we go. So it's coming along. So not quite sure if I like this line right in here. So you guessed it, we're going to take some silver and we're just going to come in right down on top of that other one. Kind of give it a little bit of shade. Take a bigger blender brush here. I gotta make sure I clean it first. Okay, so now it's slowly coming along. So we've got some depth going on in here. That's looking good. So we've got this weird uh, haze horizon right here. That is actually looking pretty okay because we'll go back when we start working on this over here. We'll bring our whites in over it to give it a little bit more depth and everything there. Yeah, so now we'll go back with our some flake white, and we'll take some apparently Josh got shot down. So I'm just taking in some flake white. And yes, this is a very long process here. As you can see, yeah, these And that's why oil painting is it's almost therapeutic because you end up taking a very long time, and it does require a lot of patience. So, with that said, which is weird because for those of you who know me or don't know me yet, I'm somewhat of a little bit of an impatient person, but not when it comes to painting. Now, I'm very patient when it comes to painting. All right, so now we're taking our flake white here, and we're going to use it to kind of add us in a little bit more depth here. Shadowing it in here. And we're going to kind of want this to be back, so we're going to use this as our next layer here. That's going to go going on top. And you can see how it's almost transparent, but it's bringing in, adding in all of that stuff from the underpainting there. Just going to kind of dance that around there, and then we're going to pull upward on it. That's where our clouds are going. Then we'll brush it out just a little bit. Now let's pull it. Let's pull it a little bit this way, shall we? There we go. And just feel it. I'm going to get us right there. I'm just going to pull it straight out there. And it disappears into the haze. That kind of helps with our horizon line there. There it is. That's a little sharp, so we're going to pull it just a little bit, kind of get it, feather it out just a little bit there. Okay, so now we're going to switch whites again. We're going to switch back to our titanium white. we're going to use that to go on top of the flake white here. We're not going to add much because we're going to eventually go back and add some zinc white to it. So we're just going to add a little bit of titanium white. Then we'll add our zinc whites. Yeah, this painting contains a lot of whites. You guys have not noticed. Alright, so we're going to go back. So there's our line that we want to keep. You know what? Let's just go back and we will follow that original flake white line. It will be just a little bit behind it. And go back. Eventually, all of this becomes titanium white. So now I'm just going to take it. I'm going to take it and just gently brush that and just kind of feather it down a little bit, just to kind of up brush it here. We're just trying to cover all of this lovely titanium. I'm just going to blend it right on in there. And right in here, I think is a good place to put us another line that comes on there. So see, it's slowly coming together. Because yeah, this is where you'll spend just hours going back and forth, always second guessing yourself. But you know what? Don't. Stick with your plan. It'll be okay. Alright. Now we'll go back and add some zinc white to it. And you'll see that our zinc white will completely change everything. So we'll take our zinc white and we're going to dance it right around So we put our original line in here. Let's back brush it. Front brush it. And basically getting all of our I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. Cleaning my brush here and reading the comments. Take a step back. Let's take a look and see how everything is going and shaping up here. Yeah, that's shaping up pretty good. So what I did notice when I was back there looking is that I'm going to get new towels. Why, hello, Leah. How are you? Happy New Year. Thank you for joining. I would type in and say hello, but my hands are covered with paint. I don't want to get that on my keyboard. So, hello. How are you? Thank you for joining. So, if you're just now joining, we have completely changed our painting from the original form as it was before. We've added in a bunch of yellows here, and it's kind of going all the way through here, and it's adding a little bit more life to our painting here. We have a little bit more depth going on now. As you can see, we've kind of built up our layers, and it's kind of going more and more and more and more and more back. So we're just going with that, and right now we're working with getting all of this laid in over here. But this is really wet and really thick right now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that rest for a minute, and I'm going to focus in on over here and bring this in because that needs to rest. It's really thick, and what will end up happening is you'll just end up pulling off a layer of paint to get down a layer of paint. So, ooh, what you gonna bake? She apparently gonna start some late night baking. Oh, that could be kind of fun. An art and baking show could be fun. You never know. So, speaking of which, I got to go grab a new towel. Talk amongst yourself. Check out the artwork. Okay, made it back. You doing what? Okay. I'm not gonna ask any questions. None whatsoever. She's baking cookies. I'm gonna leave it at that. All right. So I've switched to a smaller brush here. Now we're going to, like I said, I'm gonna start over here on this side, and we're going to let that rest because I have a lot of paint over there. And when you go to paint, because the problem is we had an oil dry surface on top of a wet surface, and what's going to happen is if you add adding more and more paint to it, you'll end up pulling off all this wet paint. So like I said, we're going to let that rest for a moment. So we'll hop over here, and we'll start with this area right in here. So I still kind of like this gray area here, but we're going to need to fade in this these yellows a little bit better and all this stuff. So let's grab our smaller brush, and we'll just start with a dry brush, and we'll just start using it to kind of fade everything in there a little bit, just to blend it just a little better. Because right now it's looking a little rough, so we need to blend it all in there. And now this, we're done with our pewters instead of our silvers. So you just got to keep that in mind. We're going to go do this. Okay. So I'm starting back with flake white here. We'll use this kind of going in. Just really just dance this up just a little bit here. So I'm taking our flake white and I'm just kind of adding it almost to the edge of our yellows here to add in some depth. Thinking we're going to add in some silver right up in here. There we go. Look at that. So we'll take some silver. And we're blending that right on in there. Did you guys take my silver? There it is. I knew you didn't take it. I'm just funning you. But I do need to get some more. So this is just linseed oil. So, and here's a interesting little tidbit to save you money. So if you go to the art store and you buy linseed oil, it's like $50 a gallon or some craziness. But if you go to your hardware store, you can buy the same stuff in a can for half the price. And it's the exact same stuff. It's all about marketing. All right, so I've got my silver here. We're going to go back and we're just going to lay in a bunch of silver right here. Because remember, silver is the color we decided we want to use to like make all of our shadows and everything. So, and we're just going to kind of add in around our yellow lines because we're going to really simulate things. All right, so it's slowly starting to come along. We're using our silvers to go in and kind of adding in shape and textures and all of that to everything. So I think what we'll do is we'll make another line that kind of comes like this way, kind of comes around, and all that fun stuff. So we'll continue to put all that stuff here. So let's get some depth going in over here on this side here. I know I said that we were going to stay away from this over here because it was very wet. And I started creeping back over there, so I've got to back myself up because I do it too. It's really hard not to get back over there when you've been working there all day. You really want to finish that area, but you know you have to let it rest because it is very, very, very wet, and it will, like I said, it'll pull up it'll pull up all this paint, all that. So you have to be very careful about that. So we're just going to let that rest for a moment. Then we're going to come over here and start working on this side here. All right. So let's get our zinc white going. We got to figure out where exactly do we want this to go here. So I'm kind of liking, yeah, so that's, you know what, we're going to touch the highlights here, so we're just going to keep dancing that on around there, dancing that down, and then this will come back up to there. Alright, so then we're just going to take it, I'm just going to gently brush back on it here. Alright, so right now the angle is not matching correctly up with everything. This thing dawned on me. The lighting is probably pretty hot right where that is, isn't it? So let's see if I can adjust the lighting so hopefully you guys can see it a little better. So I know that white is really causing that light's really causing everything to bounce back off of that. And so yeah, the light's really bright on that, isn't it? Well, I'm not quite sure if that made it better or worse. Um, so let me try something else here. I'll try adjusting the lights a little bit here. So hopefully we can get it worked out. All right, so that basically trimmed off some of the lights of it, but I think it made it a little dark. So there, is that a little better? Nope, that's not much better, is it? And so, well, so the problem is I'm using studio lights and I'm not using natural sunlight. So that's why you're probably having a hard time seeing what's actually going on over here in this corner. So I do apologize. I have tried, so I am going to have to turn the studio lights back on so I can continue to paint. But hopefully you guys can see with the lighting and all that stuff. If not, leave it in the comments below and I will know that in future videos I can adjust the lights and all this other stuff. So because the problem is what I'm seeing and what you're seeing is probably not around the same things. So yeah. Yeah, so I got to turn the studio lights back on. And I'll be back. I need to get more water. Alright, so we're back over here with this. I'm using my zinc lights and stuff to kind of relay in this corner right here. So, and I know probably from the lighting and all that stuff, I can kind of see from the one monitor I do have that this is really bright with the lights and all that stuff. So I do apologize for that. And I know with me painting these whites on top of this bright light, there's no way under the sun you can see all these lights. So what we're going to end up doing is I'll paint, basically we'll bring our whites in from over here and we'll drag them down. So we've got this layer, and then this layer, and then this layer. So I want this next one to be kind of almost a little bit transparent between this one and that one. So I'll use some flake whites and some zinc whites to accomplish that. Adding some silvers back there in the back to kind of get this going a little bit. It's kind of sad because this is going to be my last painting of 2020. Oh, thank you, Leah. I appreciate it. Yeah, glare on that side, very white. Yeah, I was worried about that. The problem is it's these studio lights and the fact I'm painting with white, with light, and white upon white. And all the okay, the way the human eye picks up white is through light reflection. And so basically everything I'm putting on this canvas is reflecting all the white, all the light that I'm bouncing back at you guys. So that's why you guys have such a hard time seeing this back corner. I'm wondering, nothing I can do. Nobody can fix it right now. So, because what I'll end up doing is I'll get sidetracked and I'll start playing with the studio lights instead of painting, and then I won't get this painting done before 2020 is over. So, we're just going to have to live with the horrible lighting for right now. Hey, I'm just starting out on this whole YouTube thing. You know, as soon as I get up to my 1,000 subscribers and my 4,000 watched hours, and I start making revenue off this stuff, then I can buy better studio lights, better equipment, things of that nature. And so that's why it's very important. If you are watching this video and you have not yet subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. You know what? If you hit that notification bell, you'll get a notification every time that I release a new video. That was my customer service voice, by the way. Okay, we all have to start off somewhere, right? So what you guys can't see that I'm adding a bunch of silvers and all that stuff to really add in a lot of depths and shadows and all that stuff to it. I'm wondering, I've got an idea. I'm going to try to turn this just a little bit to see. That did not help, did it? I don't think that helped at all. I'm checking the monitor and seeing, and nope, did absolutely nothing. Sorry about that. Art, yes, Leah. Leah says it can be fixed later. Art first. All right. Well, see, now I've done thrown off the feng shui of of everything going on here. So, all right. All right. So I'm right in this area here, and I'm adding in a lot of silvers and stuff to kind of give me this back layer. And then I'll go in and I'll add in some whites on top of it and do all that fun stuff. And hopefully by that time, this over here will be dry enough and we can get back to that because that's the only thing we can apparently see on this canvas. So right now, I'm taking my silvers, I'm adding in my silvers. So does anybody have any big New Year's Eve plans? You guys doing anything exciting for New Year's Eve? Because it's tomorrow. I'm uh, I'm just staying, man. I mean, I don't know. It depends. I might still be painting this painting because I am bound and determined to finish this before the new year. Because I mean, heck, we've been working on this thing for what, about a month now? A little over a month? Yeah, something like that. So, and I'll go and start shamelessly plugging this now. Next art show is going to be in May. You guys need to come to it. Everybody's invited. Because I feel confident that the art market should be back to normal by then. I feel confident. Although I don't think a lot of people feel very confident uh, on that. But, we have to have faith. Gotta have faith. And I'm switching back to a bigger brush here. Alright, so where were we? We were up here with the silver. We were just adding in some shadows and all that fun stuff to this layer here. So now we're going to go back with our titanium white here. Then I'm going to use it. Just place it around that at the moment. This painting really does contain a lot of white. So, and the bad thing is, I could like be painting the freaking Mona Lisa over here and do this bad lighting. You can never tell. Yeah, this is like really hot on it, but there's really nothing I can do. So, but like I said, we'll worry about the next studio lighting on the next round. The more important thing is to definitely get this stuff worked out. And I am really liking the way it's working so far. Yeah, the depths and all that stuff is really working out really well. Um, yeah, so the only thing that I see that I need to really change, I need to dress up that white that's going on there to the right, and then the yellow that's up there in the left. Yeah, we still got to fix that there, but we'll blur that out a little bit with some Bremenza white. And we'll go back over it and blur it out nicely. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my uh, titanium white here, and we're going to follow this yellow line here. We're going to go right underneath it. There we go. We'll come back this way. And then we want to pull it back this way just ever so gently. And keep pulling it back in this direction as we go up. And then there. And I'm just going to kind of turn that on down a little bit there. So we need to add just a touch more. So we've got, so I'm back to a flake white now. And we're going to kind of dance it on over it. Basically right on top of that white. And we're just going to pull that down. There's going to be some flake white here. And we're just going to follow it on down. Just going to dance that over. I'm just going to gently, very gently pull that down in that direction that we want it to go. Alrighty. So that kind of gave us a little bit more depth there. So it kind of was going this way and it kind of gives us a wall that our light is hitting. And it's basically stopping our light. But since most of our clouds are transparent, you can kind of see where that yellow is coming through it on the bottoms there. There we go. Look at that. Now that has actually turned out a little bit better than I thought it was going to be there. We got some nice depth going on. So, I mean, it's a delivering cookies and hanging with the family. Well, there you go. That is a good way to spend New Year's Eve. Because, man, I'm telling you, 2021 has got to be better than 2020. But although you do realize that 2021 is just saying that 2021. And you know what? It about beat me, I'm telling you. It's been the roughest year of my life. So, but what we need to do, um, you know what? Let's bring this out a little bit to about there. Let's step back and see how. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that actually falls pretty good. Yeah, yeah, it dissipates really well. So actually, what we're going to do, we're going to take some of this flake white here, and we're going to take it and we're going to dance it right over in there. Dance it over in there. Alright, now we're going to dry our brush, pull off all the excess paint from it. Then we're going to drag our paint and drag our clouds. Just going to drag them. Brush up a little bit, kind of define that line. Then we're going to drag them back. And this is its tail end. We're going to pull it back the other direction. So what's happened? So like let's say we have some cold fronts moving in. So this is our cold front coming in. And all of a sudden this is our warm area hitting in. So it's kind of busting up our clouds a little bit there. So there we go. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. And if you guys can't hear, Jasper's having a really hard time getting comfortable over there. He's tossing, turning, snorting, huffing. He gets really fussy this time of night because it's his bedtime. And so, of course, Jasper is a very needy dog. So, but it's okay. I love him anyway. All right, so let's kind of brush these lines out just a little bit better. All right. Okay. Alrighty, so starting to like this so far. I like our so let's go back and we'll check our movements, make sure our movement's going the way we wanted it to originally go. So remember, we want people looking at it, we kind of want them to see this first. We want their eyes to follow this around, come up, hit this, kind of flow back into the painting this way, which that's the good thing that this line here will do. It's going to drive people's views this way. Notice how we have these lines here? They're all going this way. So they're coming up, pushing people's eyes this way. We have our second horizon line. This is our first one, it's our second one to give us a little bit of depth. So it's coming in, it's bringing people this way over to here. We've got them coming up and over and back down. So yeah, so our movement is good. Our movement is good. So we've got nice movement going on in the painting. We want the movement going well. And because the good thing about art is that yes, so this is where, in my opinion, it becomes very tricky because some aspects there really is no, um, I guess there's really no bad art, but there is bad art. There's bad art when it's purposely just a Just not good. When the subject matter is bad, the painting's bad, the technique is bad. It's bad in a sense of just not being put together correctly. But it's not bad because the person painted it, they like it, so in their eyes, it's a beautiful masterpiece. So that's where it, you know, art critics will, you know, say, oh, they can give you the technical, definitions of why art is good. I mean, so that's why I can look at this painting and I can tell you technique-wise why I like it and why I think it flows. But at the end of the day, if you, the viewer, look at it and are like, that is a load of crap. It's the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life, then it's bad art. So it's kind of tricky. You know what I mean? So it's kind of weird. So 2021 better be better. Can't be worse. That's all I'm gonna say is it can't be worse. I don't. Yeah, I don't see how 2020. Yeah, I can. But hey, it's okay. You know what? God's in control. God's in control. At the end of the day, that's all you got to remember. All right. Well, let's get back to our universe here. So we've got our yellows kind of laid in. They're swishing and swashing back and forth there. And yes, that is a art technical term, swishing and swashing. So um, now we need to go up and let's work on another layer of our yeah, so right here we've got a weird thing happening, although you can't see it because of the studio lights. But trust me, there's this weird thing that's happening like right over in here that if you could see, it would be like, yeah, that's a weird thing happening right over in there. It's like we need to bring this out a little more because right now the way it's sitting is almost on the same level as this. So we want to bring it out just a little bit. So the way we're going to do that is we'll take some of our um, Cremenza white and we will make a layer in that comes in over this way. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some Cremenza white and I'm going to mix it in with some silver to give us a beautiful silver white. But it's not going to be a lot of silver. It's going to be just a small, small, small amount. Like, when I say small amount, I mean like, I don't even know if the camera's even going to focus in on that. Like, that much. So, we shall see. And what this is going to do is give us our, let's give us a little bit of our depth. It's going to be right in there. I'm just going to kind of skip it around and dance it on there. And we're going to pull them upward. Alright, so now we're going to add some depthness. We're just going to kind of dance these on around in there. and drag it on out. Yeah, if only you guys could see this, it'd be great. But sadly, due to the studio lighting, I know there's no way possible you guys can see this. But if you could, it's turned out really well. I'm liking it anyway. So I'm using the silver white that the wax kind of made up there. Um, I'm using it as an accent to kind of go in and give this a little bit more depth where it's kind of rolling in and all that stuff. So that's what we're doing now. So what I'm doing now is I'm putting down, dabbing in our whites. Then I'm kind of going back and just gently bringing it back in the direction that we want all of this to go. So what's everybody looking forward to in 2021 to come back? Me personally, I cannot wait for the galleries to start having openings again. Because nothing better than going to an art gallery opening or something like that. All right, so now we've got, that added a little bit more depth in there. I am liking that a lot. Got a lot more depth going on now. And you can kind of see all we did is we're just using the layers of the paint that was underneath it. That's why I like painting with translucent colors, is because when you build up the layers upon layers upon layers, you can build off the back layer and off the layer behind that one, layer behind that one, layer behind that one. So it's almost like all your depth is already there. You just have to add in the correct amount of shadows just to accent it just enough to cause it to pop and to be revealed. So I'm really liking this right here. This turned out really well. And so now we just have to work on a little bit up in here, and then we're going to come back over here and tackle this monstrosity right now, because right now that is dominating the painting. That yellow is really just dominating everything. So we need to do a lot of work to it because it is really dominating everything. I'm still glad we put it on there, but it's dominating everything right now. So we're gonna get to it. We're gonna get it done. I'm just stepping back, looking, seeing, making sure we got everything that we want it to be. So we need to do something with this right here. Right now that's looking like ice cream. So we need to fix that. We need to get this to look like this here with lots of layers and all of that. I think what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll add in some pewter to it. Because remember, pewter is what we use down here to get this lovely uh, shades down here. So I think we'll go back and we'll tie in some pewters to it. That way it's almost like we're tying in this part of the painting and that part of the painting, and everything's tied in and flowing all together there. So I think we'll go back and we'll add some pewter up in here to that. See, you guys thought abstract art was easy. No, no, not at all. It has a lot of thinking and all that stuff. You have to deal in with it and all that stuff. So, um, yeah, like I said, if you guys are just now joining in, my name is Jesse Hamrick, and I want to welcome you to my channel. It's called Life as an Artist. And throughout this YouTube journey that I just started about 2 months ago, uh, I'm going to show you guys painting techniques that I do and other painting techniques and all that fun stuff. And it's not just a strictly painting channel. I will be getting out of the studio and going to different places and just kind of showing you what it's like to be an artist and all that fun stuff. So I do have a fun, exciting trip coming up in about 2 weeks. It's going to be a shameless plug for it. I'm going to be going to the Epcot Festival of the Arts, and I'm going to bring you guys with me, and we're going to see how it goes. All right, but in the meantime, let's get back to this painting here. So I'm just adding in a touch of pewter back up here, because we really want this right here. Now, this is really going to be dark here for the first couple of times, so we need to be very careful with it. You guys might actually be able to see that due to the bad lighting. So speaking of, I think might be so kind of turn that back here, see if that's a better angle for you guys. Yeah. Alright, so I'm just going to bring it straight down into here. some Ninja White. And just make that. That's going to blend in really well with that pewter. It's almost going to make it a beautiful, almost a silverish, pewterish gray. It's going to blend in really well. Yep, that's what we want. And there's a touch of fake white in there. So it's the color we want, but now we got to add in textures, layers, and all that fun stuff. Yeah, I'm switching back and forth, back and forth, back and forth a lot. So I'm going back and I'm adding in a lot of shadows and stuff in here. Not quite sure if you guys can see it due to the bad lighting in the studio, but that's what's happening right now. So, like I said, I do wish you guys. So I do promise that I will get better studio lighting for this because I know you guys can't really see much what's going on over here in this corner due to the bad lighting and stuff. So, but it is looking out very well. Oh, it's early. It's only 12:30, and here I thought it was going to be late. Nah, we got plenty of time. Plenty of time. So yes, this is where I do spend a lot of times. So basically, I'm just standing here staring at the painting, trying to figure out where I need to go next with what. And yeah, so far it's looking really good. We've got a lot of depth and everything happening. Man, that yellow is very dominant, isn't it? I knew it was going to be bad. Not bad per se, but I knew it was going to be very powerful yellow when I put it on there. But it's okay. It's a good yellow. It ties in everything very well. So yeah, I think that Cremenza white up there is going to help that a lot. So now we're going to take our um, flake white. And this is now I need to flake white's a little dirty, it's a little contaminated with my pewter from earlier. So let's just get a new batch of flake white here. So yes, this entire painting is done basically with 3 whites. And so, alright, I'm going to add in some depth, so I'm going to dance around our flake whites here. And underneath, where we put those other colors. I'm just going to simply gently brush it back.